Okay, just finished loading up these stones. This is slate from David's house that he is remodeling. And it is the same stone I used for the walkway, and I have a home project for it. It's not a whole lot of stones, but they split into thinner stones. And I'll show you the walkway. And I'm heading home. I always bring the chainsaw home. I don't leave it over here. And yeah, I need to leave the gas though. So heading home in a second. This is the walkway I made with those slates after I split them up. And it's nothing special, but it does keep you from having to walk in the grass to and from the shower, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to do something similar at home where there's currently a bridge. And a friend gave me some of this plastic decking just in time because my old decking was rotting, because it was rotten when I put it down. And now it's 3 years past rotten. It was getting kind of iffy. But this is nice coming out the shower, these plastic boards. So this is my wife's commute to work in the morning. Down the walkway. This used to be wooden, made out of various things. I think this end was actually creosote timbers, but eventually they rotted away. This end used to be treated timbers, treated boards, and gradually it rotted away. So it's all been replaced with stone now, and that's where she works. I built a little bridge, partially to be cutesy and partially to drain the water from the yard onto the walkway. It never did work. It filled up with leaves under there and no water goes under it. But it's old and it's getting tired, and now the boards are starting to come loose. And the kids are all big enough, or the grandkids are pretty much big enough, they don't play on it anymore. So I'm going to replace this with those stones. It is about 2 foot by 7. I'm going to split up enough of those big chunks to have enough to cover 14 square feet. Sure, there is a right way and a wrong way to do this. Okay, there's a crack. I'm gonna make use of that crack. All right, try to break this one in half. There's a little line started. Yes, I have a trimmer, and yes, it makes things more challenging sometimes, but there's no cure, and with all the blessings I have, I just deal with it because it's not that big a deal. All right, 3 slabs out of 1. I got to do that a bunch of more times. I'm going to do one more, and I think I'm going to be pretty close. No sign of cracking yet. There it is. See the little line? Beautiful. Get another one out of this one. We have roughly 2 foot by 7 foot split. So I'm not going to split anymore. I don't know what pattern I'm going to use. I kind of like to junk things up, so it'll probably be more than just these stones. Yeah, so the ends are pretty rotten. Part in the middle that didn't touch the ground, it's still in pretty good shape. But yeah, it's going to a fire pit. It's past its best by date. I need to dig out this little slab. Yeah, let me get a wheelbarrow.
There were three 3/8-inch studs on each end that anchored down the little bridge. I don't really remember putting these in here, but there was nobody else, so it must have been me. So we got to whack those off.
Don't pick those up, they're very hot.
So I checked out the arches pretty close. It looks like I bent 1/2-inch strips, laminated them over some sort of form, and then I put a whole bunch of gun nails in them too. I guess for some mechanical connection in addition to the glue. They've held up really good, except for the part that's touching the ground, and it's done. Okay, my regular viewers will recognize the lumber toter. I did remove the axle. I moved it toward the front so it wouldn't teeter-totter, and put legs on the back and put a little handle. And it's pretty handy for use around the yard. It's probably going to rot because it's made out of pecan, but it'll be good for a couple of years.
Okay, it's a new day. Finished digging it out. Clean the edges with a broom. Set 2 little edge forms. We're not pouring liquid concrete, so they don't have to be that strong. Pour all the way to the ground, and I make sure that the elevations are right to get the water to drain that way and not sit on the walkway. So I'm gonna go get my stones that I've split and figure out what kind of pattern I want to do, and then I got to go buy some concrete, but I'm gonna use sand mix. So I started out with this pattern, but I quickly ran out of long straight ones, and also laying them side by side leaves a gap right here. They're all more or less the same width, so we gotta do something different. So the pit was already hot because I've been burning some branches from some branches we cut down. This thing should light up very quickly. I think it's already lit up. All right, I'm gonna settle on something like this, just a random pattern. Now these things split pretty easy, but they do not cut the length easy. They never want to cut where you want them. So I'm gonna take my little grinder and score them real good before I try to break them to length. And now I gotta go to Home Depot and get 8 bags of sandcrete to make this thing solid.
So these stones split really easily, but they will not break to length. Like you can't use a brick trowel and knock the end off like you can dealing with bricks. They just crumble. So you got to cut them. It's a little diamond wheel, makes it easy. And a lot of people don't know that you can use the back of a grinder for a little hammer. Works pretty good. If you look closely, you can see my knee pad under my feet, where it's doing a lot of good for my knees. I'm definitely past my best by date.
Stop recording.
I've been trying to learn my bird calls. That's a Carolina wren in the background, the littlest bird with the biggest voice. Anyway, this is a dry concrete mix. This is like the only time I use this trowel. The rest of the time I just use my hand. As if everybody's going to get mad at me and say you can't do this, but I've done it before. And it works fine, and it's easy enough that pretty much anybody can do it. You just put the dry mix, you spread it around, you wiggle the tiles or slates or whatever until they sit where you want them, and then you wet it. And it's going to get hard. Now, this is a footpath. This is not a driveway. I'm not driving trucks over this. This is just my wife walks on this. She's not very heavy. And one of the tricky parts is when you take the slates out to put the concrete in, to remember where they went so you can get them back where they all fit, because they've all been cut to fit. When you get all your stones laid out, you add water, and you can't like squirt it because you don't want to wash the dry stuff out of the cracks. And you wiggle the stones a little bit to make sure they're sitting firmly, and some of them will rock a little bit, so you can just move the concrete material around with your fingers until they all feel fairly stable. And the last thing you do is rinse. You don't want the cement residue on top of the slates, so they'll be gray. You want them clean, and that's so I can mess them up later with the mortar, which I did a pretty good job of. You also don't want the concrete coming to the top of the slate. You want to leave a little room for the grout to seal them up and make them look uniform. Carolina Wren is singing to me again. Now this is masonry, this is mortar mix. This is not masonry cement that you have to add sand with. This is all ready to go, and you just add water. And I put too much water in it. It was too sticky and it stuck to the top of the slates. I didn't really want that. I wanted it a little drier, but that's not the way I made it, so I'll live with it. Sometimes I lower my standards, like every day, but yeah, so I'm just grouting the joints, and I use the trowel, and sometimes I use my gloved hand, and I want to fill it all kind of flush. You don't want tripping hazards, and you don't want the joints to fill up with dirt or water. You just want them kind of clean, and the pointy end of the trowel works really good for this.
Okay, we're all grouted with masonry mix, not masonry cement, but masonry mix. It already has the proper amount of sand in it, and it's kind of messy up. I probably put a little too much water when I mixed it. It's really hard to get that just right. We'll let it dry for an hour or so. We'll hit it with a broom real hard, and then in a couple of days, I'm gonna probably acid wash it to get the color of the stones to come back through that masonry mix. I should have washed these stones yesterday before it really set up too hard, but I wasn't here. I was at the country, and I should have a stiffer brush, but that's all I got. But I do have muriatic, not muriatic. That's two different kinds of acid. Now you can buy this stuff at the hardware store, but that doesn't mean it ain't strong. So acid to water. We're gonna make it strong because it's been sitting for a day. And if I splash it on my feet, I'm gonna be sorry. And I left my camera in the country, so this is gonna be tricky. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. See it fizzing up. Strong stuff. I think it's gonna get most of it off, or a lot of it off. All right, so it just goes to show anybody can lay stone as long as you lower your standards to where mine are. Oh, actually, it came out okay. And I have a what do you call it? One thing though, we don't have freeze-thaw cycles in the ground. That may make a difference as to the structural and how you have to do these. The last time our ground froze was like 50,000 years ago during the Great Ice Age. Other than that, our ground doesn't freeze. So if your ground freezes, you might have to do something different. But if not, go for it. It's easy. I did all these stones pretty much the same way. I did these, and these I washed quicker, so I got most of the gray off of them. Yeah, so not so hard. Don't be scared. Do it.